graphing trigonometric functions using the 5-point method. In this video, the steps to determine the coordinates needed to plot a sketch of a trigonometric function given an equation will be discussed. Let's start by reviewing the 5 points needed to plot a sketch of a trigonometric function. In analyzing the graph of a trigonometric function, you will notice the graph is divided into 4 regions. Region A is the distance between the starting point at 0, 0 and the maximum point at pi over 2 and 1. This distance is calculated by taking the x value of the maximum point, subtract from the starting point. X over 2 minus 0 is x over 2. If we looked closer, we could see that this distance is 1/4 of the length of the period. Now, we're going to look at region B. Region B is the distance between the starting point at 0, 0 and the midpoint at pi 0. This distance is calculated by taking the x value of the midpoint, subtract the starting point. Pi subtract 0 is pi. On closer examination, this distance is 1/2 of the length of one period. Now, region C is the distance between the starting point, 0, 0, and the minimum point that occurs at 3 pi over 2, negative 1. The distance is calculated by taking the x value of the minimum point minus the starting point. 3 pi over 2 minus 0 is equal to 3 pi over 2. This distance is 3/4 of the length of one period. Now, region D, the last region. This is the distance between the starting point at 0, 0 and the end point at 2 pi 0. This distance is calculated by taking the x value of the end point minus the starting point. 2 pi minus 0 equals 2 pi. This distance is the length of one period. Now, let's use this information as we look at the 5-point method of drawing a trigonometric function. Point 1 is the starting point. For the starting point, the coordinate is 0, 0. The x value represents the d value of the equation. The y value represents the c value of the trigonometric equation. The coordinate then is 0, 0. The maximum point is the second point. Find the x value. The formula to do this is to take 1/4 of the length of the period. Find the y value. The formula for this would be to take the c value 0 and to add the a value of 1. So 1/4 of 2 pi is pi over 2, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So the coordinate of the maximum point is pi over 2, 1. Does this match our diagram? Yes. The x we went over pi over 2, and for y we went up 1. Perfect. Now, let's find point 3, the midpoint. Find the x value. Again, the formula, 1/2 the length of the period, which would be 1/2 times 2 pi, which would be pi. The y value, of course, is the c value, 0. So the coordinate is pi and 0. Are we correct? Let's check it out on our graph. Pi, 0. Perfect. On to the next. Now, point 4, the minimum point. Find the x value, the formula. This time we'll take 3/4 of the length of the period. 3 over 4 times 2 pi would be 3 over 2. And of course, don't forget the pi, 3 pi over 2. Find the y value, the formula, minus, in bracket, c value plus a value. This would be minus the c value of 0 and the a value of 1. The answer, -1. So the coordinate is 3 pi over 2 and -1. The endpoint. Find the x value. Formula, the length of the period, 2 pi. Find the y value. The formula, the c value, 0. So the coordinate would be 2 pi and 0. You now know how to find the 5 points given a trigonometric function's equation. In the next video, you will put these steps to work as you learn how to graph trigonometric functions using these points. We will use actual examples. Stay tuned.